Welcome back to another episode of Gaining Clarity. Today I'm joined by Leen Abaza.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Leen's story specifically, including a range of topics within it, but mainly Leen's story about how you came to America and the different obstacles or blockages you experienced, and how that kind of shaped you into who you are today and the embodiment of who you are today. I wanted to start off by asking you how, just bringing it to the beginning, or actually no, let's start from the end and then take it to the beginning.
Cool.
So today, present time, this moment right now, how would you say the last, how old are you again?
I'm 20. I just turned 24 this month, June.
Oh yeah? Wait, when was your birthday?
Like June 28th.
Oh wait, I think I knew that.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy belated birthday in person.
24 years young.
Wow. So last 10 years, because you moved here when you were 13.
10 years ago. Yep.
Wow. So much changes in a decade.
So much.
How do you find that this experience guided you into who you are today?
So I think that experiences happen and we take away from it. We kind of have to survive our experiences and return to our true self, like what our self is teaching us. And I think we can get through any obstacle that way. So I don't think my experience, all of our experiences shape us into who we are, but it's also what we take away from it. Like I could have numbed myself from a lot of the pain that I went through and ended up being a totally different person.
Yeah.
So by that merit, I'm kind of creating myself, I feel like, more than my experience is creating me. We take away from the experience what we are more than what the experience is. So it's like that nature versus nurture too, because is it like our environment or is it our essence?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit of both.
That balance. Balance finds us everywhere.
Yep, everywhere.
So, Leen.
Who
are you?
I'm good. I think I finally reached a point in my life where I feel safe in the world. I didn't grow up feeling safe in the world, safe in the people around me. But yeah, I'm feeling grounded more than ever. I'm meeting these people that are confirming that magic does exist all around us, and you're not crazy for wanting more and not settling until you meet those people. But Leen now is exploring life at 24 years, traveling a lot, diving into music festivals, which really opened my eyes into all the complexities of what everyone's self-expression can be like. I truly describe it as an adult playground because people show up dressed as frogs and fairies and any character you could think of, and it's like limitless self-expression, and it really is like the juiciest stuff I could think of. It makes me so happy.
I love seeing people's costumes and like the way they dress up for music festivals. I'll find my way to one day.
Maybe with me.
Maybe with you.
Oh, it's so freeing. So, exploring through music festivals and the power of music. DJing also a little bit right now because music has brought me so much healing that I want to bring healing to people through music. But also I bring healing in my day-to-day job, which is an engineering job. I work at a medical device company, and we make heart surgery devices. So it's a very adult job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this sounds so adult.
I started in February full-time, but I had been interning with the company for 2 years.
Wow. Does this tie in with something you want to do in the future, or is it something you're passionate about now?
I was very passionate about the human body growing up. My dad was a surgeon, and I just always was interested in science and what makes up our world, our bodies. I studied medicine, and I didn't really find the answers I was looking for in it. I studied biology, I should say.
Oh, I love biology.
Oh. But then I knew that medicine wouldn't be my way of helping people, just because of our system. And you know how it is in big pharma. It's not centered around the patient and helping the patient. And if you want to help people, it's truly not the best or only way. So I diverted into engineering. So we make devices that do help save people's lives. So in an indirect way, I still have that influence.
That's great.
It's awesome, yeah.
Happy for you.
Thank you. So along with that and DJing and exploring life, music, that's really my life right now. Yoga, meditation, trying to ground in our chaotic world much as possible every day. Do you feel like the concept of like we chose our lives before we were born and chose our potential struggles before we were born? Have you ever heard that?
No, yeah. I've heard about we choose our, like our souls choose
The path.
who we are and the path. Like they see our entire lives and they're like, okay, I'll do it.
I try to connect with a version of myself that could have chose this life, and I'm like, I get it. She probably wanted the hard way out, wanted to learn all of these lessons. She signed up for the super difficult mode.
She's like, I got this.
Yeah.
Last life was too easy. Let's go.
Let's go for an adventure. And I always laugh with my sister that I convinced her to hop on the ride, and she came like a year after me. It's such a blessing to have my sister in my life too, because having such similar life experiences reflected in another human being with their own way of going through it just validates your experience that much more. Like you're not alone in the world ever.
I can't even imagine like the support too. It's like a whole different kind of support system.
Yeah. I've never known any other support like it.
The bond you guys have obviously is just visual for me from what I've seen, but it's like magnetic. Like you can feel whatever you have, like you can just tell there's so much love there.
Aw. Shout out Maya. She's beautiful. Such an honor to know her.
That's amazing that you have had someone to kind of go through this with.
Right.
Do you feel like your experience would have been different if it was just you?
I mean, a lot of my experience growing up in Syria too, so should I go back? And
Oh yeah, you know what? Let's start from the beginning.
Start from the
'cause
beginning.
We're already going to the follow-up questions.
So I was born and raised in Damascus, Syria. If you don't know where that is in the Middle East. It borders Turkey and Iraq. Totally different culture and environment than I'm used to here, but I grew up till I was 13 there, which gave me the unique view of being somewhat coherent and old enough to remember that experience there and see the culture there and assess from my immature point of view at that time probably, but assess the world there and then move here and see how things flew here. But I think the age 13 was really interesting because I really anchored down in both realities, and they're polar opposites in many ways. Growing up in Syria was challenging. When I was young, I was just going about life. But my home, I wouldn't say it was the happiest. My parents had a lot of problems, ended up getting divorced. And as an older sibling, the oldest sibling, I had to take care of my younger two sisters. And Maya, of course, having her in that experience not only validated, but also gave me something to be responsible about at a very young age, which helped me mature in ways that maybe I wasn't ready for, but rose to the occasion. Yeah. And then when the war started, that was another very scary experience. I lived through the civil war in Syria from 2011 to 2013. 3 years of the war was kind of a lot.
Was it like a lot of violence? I don't know anything at all about the civil war in Syria.
Yeah, without going too deep into it, the people wanted to overthrow the government, and there was a lot of forces that are involved in. A lot of different militia groups and terrorist groups that got involved. And unfortunately, the people that paid the price were the citizens, like normal people like you and I. At that point, though, I did not plan for any farther than tomorrow, because tomorrow wasn't promised. So you just go about your day.
Right.
Gunshots here and there, but you just worry about tomorrow. And protecting what's yours and making sure you're safe and having an escape strategy in case anything happens. And at the age of 13, I was already plotting like escape strategies, Yeah,
that's intense for a 13-year-old.
It really pushes you to grow in a way that nothing else I've experienced pushed me.
And then you moved here.
And I moved here at 13 and
completely different.
Completely different. Nothing I had expected, honestly. I was very much into I was listening to the same music Americans were listening to, same songs, same movies. So some of the culture carried over. But going into high school like that, high school is a very formative age for a lot of teenagers.
Yeah.
And trying to find yourself in a whole new environment was very when you don't speak the language, and the cultural
Right.
barrier was hard. Yeah, yeah. But something in me knew that I would be okay, and I just had to keep going, which I did. And the first 2 years weren't so easy, freshman and sophomore year. I struggled a lot, not because I've always been a good student. I've enjoyed learning my whole life, but the language was really, like math, for example. I studied engineering and I've always been good at math. But when I first moved here, like plus and minus were different words in Arabic. So that's what would like hold me back. Like the language in English
Oh, okay.
and math would screw me over. So just within a year or two, though, I was in all honors already. Like I kicked ass.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about persevering through
Right.
lotus in the mud for real right here.
Oh, lotus in the
Wow.
mud. That's beautiful. I do have a lotus tattoo right here because that's
you go.
always meant so much to me. We have a
Yeah.
lotus one too.
I have my lotus. Lotus is everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. We grow through what we go through.
Then how did like high school kind of end off for you? Got a few years in.
Ended off with the heartbreak of knowing that I won't afford four-year schools. Because of moving here and the whole paperwork process of it all, I didn't qualify for federal aid, so I had to pay for school out of pocket.
Oh,
So I went to community college, worked 40 hours, paid for my schooling for the first year, and then started to slowly get state aid, which helped. But graduated college recently with no debt, so I'm very, very happy about that. Yeah, really
hell
lucked out.
yeah. High school done. College done. What's
Cake.
next for Leen?
Easy. What
So
is
easy.
next? Music exploration. Music has brought me so much healing, and I just want to continue to brew up. And being in those two cultures, I would totally mix some Eastern sounds with like new modern house music, beats, and techno music. And just get people going. I've DJ'd here once before. I think you were here. It makes me so happy to bring music to people. So hopefully that could be the life that I live. I want that to be the life that I live. But being in our world and having to provide for yourself through a job or whatever means necessary,
We live in a society.
live in a society that's run by money. And truly, money runs a lot of things. And I realized that I need that financial security for myself. I need to know that I can be safe if something happens. I need to know that I can support myself and my loved ones. It makes me feel safe in the world. So although money is superficial and not the purpose of life at all for me, I realize that I do need that to like
Yeah.
calm down and feel safe.
It's been a hard truth I've had to accept.
Right?
Just like shifting your mindset about money.
Exactly. Because
But-
we were probably not born rich, and that's why. If you're not born rich, you don't have the right mindset about money, and then we live in a lack
Right.
mindset.
Right.
Like I don't have it, I don't need it, but I want it.
Yeah.
And I deserve it. And it should be flowing into my life.
Growing out of that scarcity mindset.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah. Other than that though, music DJing. I know DJing is pretty new. You
Pretty
started
new,
like
yeah.
your first was the first one at the women's
Women's
retreat?
retreat was my first ever set. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any
It's just so
plans
funny
for that?
Through Roots, most of my experiences have been.
This place is
This
like
place is magical, yeah.
it's what's it called? Catalytic force. Working in here.
Pulling all the people together from different places.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how I discovered Roots. Like random.
We're so
Google
random that it's
search.
not random.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, mine was a Google search too.
Really? Like, I need to go there. Wow. Well, I'm so glad we crossed paths because
Yeah.
of Roots. I have so much gratitude to this place and all the people, all the amazing people I've met here. For a while, the most consistency in my yoga practice was when I would come here every Thursday for yoga, and it would just set me up for the rest of the week. I would go home
Hell
in a
yeah.
clear headspace, and I would stay there for a couple days. By Monday, I'd need another session.
Wait, that's great. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Kundalini yoga.
I have yet to try Kundalini. I think I did it once, but I was very resistant to
Very
it.
heavy.
Yeah. So I want to try it again, like
Yeah.
however many months later. But what are your plans with, like, I know you just finished school and then like you're doing this job right now. What do you, have you like found your purpose in life? Like what kind of is alive within you right now?
That's such a good question. I found my purpose not to be about work. I find my purpose in my everyday life and talking to people like you and just connecting with humans. What I do right now is a means of survival. It does fulfill some part of me where I'm applying myself and my brain is active and I'm on the move and I'm fixing things. But I don't perceive it to be forever. It's a stepping stone for now. But what's alive within me is what I get to experience within myself and within people, that human connection that unites us. And all throughout my journey of like between Syria and here, that has remained constant. I've always loved reaching into people, touching something and connecting it to myself. And yeah, I feel like we're born to do this. And subconsciously, I feel like we all influence each other and grow together, create communities together. So my ideal life goal would be to get my loved ones, everyone I've come across that can imagine a better world for ourselves where we grow our own food and we raise our children together, even though I don't really want children, but like the idea of aligned living. Like we all have a similar vision for how we treat each other, how we treat the earth.
Right.
And we live together harmoniously.
Community.
Community. We strayed so far away from community. I come from a very, very tight-knit community because I can explain a little bit about where I come from. Because I'm not actually Syrian genetically. I'm like 0% Syrian genetically.
Oh.
I'm from the Caucasus Mountains of Russia.
Ah.
I'm not Russian, though. I'm Circassian. You know the word Caucasian?
Yeah.
So I'm actually Caucasian from the Caucasus Mountains. That word has been whitewashed, kind of, and used to describe white people by this German guy that just, you saw the whitest people on earth and decided to call all white people that term.
Huh.
A diaspora happened where there was a mass genocide of my people, and they ended up all over the world. My family ended up in Syria, but there's some Circassians in Turkey, Jordan, the U.S. There's a big community in the U.S. So when I moved here, I also moved into the community and to try to preserve the culture and the traditions and the dance. I've done the dance most of my life. It's like very elegant, like royal dancing. That's kind of all I knew growing up. And people marry within the same community to preserve the genetics. It's like purebred.
Yeah.
Preserve the bloodline.
I get that. When did you like dive into this or like discover this part of yourself?
The culture part?
Yeah.
As young as I could ever be, like I knew I was Circassian and that I was different from the environment that I was in since I was in like pre-K.
Wow.
Like, watch out, you're around Syrians, and now we're here. It's like, watch out, you're around other people that are not like us, like Americans. So wherever I went, there was this concept of I am different from the world around me, and I come from a different place, and therefore I should act different. And it kind of always alienated me. So what I loved about music festivals is that everyone comes from such different backgrounds, and we still like we play together. You know, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if your parents get it or not. Just explore life, find what feels good to you, and follow that. That's like the only thing that has stuck with me.
Having something imprinted on you like that, like multiple times throughout your life, must have left some kind of mark in your subconscious or belief system. So I'm just curious how that theme of not belonging has shown up in your life and in your healing journey.
Yeah. Healing journey.
See?
That's juicy stuff.
My two favorite words.
Feel like I had to reparent myself from the ground up. It all kind of sparked up during COVID because we had the isolation of being at home.
Right.
And you had to face all of your demons at once.
Yeah.
We all kind of had to. It's like you couldn't escape all of a sudden. You can't waste time with your friends. You can't go out and do things.
I'm still somehow fighting those demons to this day.
Yeah. Not an easy task. So something that's imprinted so heavy on me like that, how I broke it is, have you ever read the book, The Four Agreements? Mm-hmm. Don Miguel Ruiz, I think. It helped me just realize that there are subconscious beliefs within my psyche that have been there for a really long time. And just being able to name them and put a finger on them allowed me to see them objectively, not from my subjective experience. Mm-hmm. Because being in myself is a trip, because how objectively can I look at myself if I'm having an experience that's like me all the time?
Right.
Then the self is kind of an illusion, so I could get lost in that conversation in the best way possible. But
Yes, I
to
get
bring
that.
it back to your question, I had to name all those beliefs that I grew up with and then assess them. Do they still align with the life that I want to live? Do they still matter to me? Do they still shape who I am right now, or do I want them to? And if I don't, then I just dispose of them. You know, it's not as easy to actually do it as it sounds, but because there are deep attachments to the things that make us us when we're really young in those really formative years. And to break that could mean to break who you are or who you have been. But if you really look at that and see the fear that comes up, it's like, what am I so afraid of? I'm going to reach a version of myself that makes me more happy. You know, like that's the ultimate goal, finding a life that works for me, finding a balance that works for the type of life that I want to live.
Yeah.
So at any cost, I was willing to question everything I was brought up with. Always asking myself the questions, even when I was really young and was getting taught religion, I had a lot of questions,
That's
And
great.
my parents were like, you can't question at that point, you just have to believe. And that never really made sense to me. I'm like, give
Always
me
question.
answers. Always question. I get the value in having faith in some things without having answers. Maybe in the essence of who we are. Like some things we don't have answers for, but we have to just trust, like our intuition.
Intuitive. Inner knowing.
Inner knowing, yeah. I wanted to bring up something that was really hard to break during that period of time, because whenever I would share my experience with people would really sympathize with me, which I didn't know how to interpret at the time. Like, wow, you've gone through so much. That must have been rough. And I just laugh it off, as I always have, but then going home and taking that experience with me, and I'm like, wow, I have been through a lot. Maybe I am kind of messed up. What is going on? Like, and then the why me piece comes up often. It's like, why is this life the life that I get to experience? At some point switch to, I'm so grateful this is the life that I get to experience, and I can make it whatever I want. But the why me piece and comparison is never the right answer, because you never know really truly what someone's going through. Like no one knows your struggles. Although I like to think of it like this, although I went through civil war and it was traumatizing in all its like physically scary ways, like will I survive tomorrow?
Yeah.
People had different struggles that might have shaken up their realities in way worse ways or way deeper ways. You know, like someone could have been humiliated in 3rd grade and never truly got over that. Something so simple, but I think comparison is the root of all evil, because we have such different ways of responding to life and alchemizing our experiences, and everyone responds differently. So I learned not to compare, just to look at my experiences, see what the good that I could take away from it, and the good that I could give back to those around me and the experiences around me.
Truly being just the observer, and then taking with that awareness, alchemizing.
Alchemizers.
I think that's actually like a really great point that you bring up, because we all know that comparison's not the best thing that we can do for ourselves. But you know, what does that actually mean? What does that look like? When we think of comparison, some of us may picture like comparing each other's looks or comparing each other's lifestyles, right? In this sense of like, social media. Like that's a big thing I see. The first time I learned about what trauma actually was, I was shook. Someone was like, you don't have to be in a car crash to be traumatized. And I was like,
Wait, how come?
because no, I mean, like, you can be traumatized if you're in a car crash, but that's not all that trauma is.
Oh, I see.
Like, I used to think trauma was like big,
Very
like
severe.
scary events, right? Things you would see in TV. And someone said, like, something that someone told you in the 3rd grade could have traumatized you. And that's like the first time I ever like started questioning my belief system, like the things I tell myself, right? Because a lot of these beliefs come from old experiences, but I love that you brought that point up because all of our experiences are so valid. And it's up to us to bring that awareness to them and then do the work.
Exactly.
It sucks, but
That's what we're here to do.
can't be walking around like a bunch of negative Nelly.
No. No, it's not good for us or anyone around us.
Yeah, but I think that that point really can strike a sense of awareness within someone that they might not have known before. Because I didn't even learn that till like a few years ago. It's like, what? Trauma? I'm traumatized? In what way? I was never in a car crash. I was never in a civil war. Like, what could have happened to me that was so bad?
Right.
But anyway.
But validating yourself too, it's like...
Yeah.
And sometimes our psyche like hides that in our subconscious and we don't even know why. Like, like my body, for example, will tense in a certain way when there's fireworks out. I just tied the two together. It's because it reminds me too much of gunshots and bombs. So yeah, I don't really enjoy fireworks too much now, but that's like a primitive body response that
the body holds on to trauma.
Body keeps a score, yeah.
But sometimes you don't even, have you ever heard that thing about like forgetting parts of your childhood? Or
I
forgetting?
have a big gap in my memory.
Okay, yeah. And that's like the brain's way of like protecting you.
Yeah. Because
like your brain knows.
Otherwise.
I think that's like so fascinating.
It's like this ancient vehicle we're in that knows way more than we know. Like
literally, like how does it? Like it's so phenomenal, so crazy, but so interesting,
so fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that like I looked for answers for all that. Like, how does my body know what to do? Where is the wisdom coming from? It's ancient. But science doesn't really explain that wisdom. Like your body's systems that are supposed to flow in harmony with one another and balance each other out. Science, our science system, our medical system treats one organ at a time, treats one system at a time, when all of our systems flow together so well. So that was such a big disconnect for me when I looked at our system in the U.S.
Wow.
It's like...
One thing that just came up for me was like, you said looking at one system at a time when it really all works together. I think about like the earth, nature, us.
We're all one, yeah.
The whole oneness. That's so interesting.
But then like comparison and social media and things like that make us feel so separate. Like you're going through your experience and I'm going through my experience, but we're overlapped in our experiences. We share moments. I'll walk away with an imprint of your energy and you'll walk away with an imprint of mine. I feel like we're all a collection of everyone we come across and we impact each other whether we want to or not. So why not leave a good impact?
I like that word, imprint. I think like I was listening to a guided meditation this morning and it was about purposeful living and they mentioned something about like, I think the word imprint came up and it was like every person you come across will have an imprint on your subconscious and and like I was like listening to that and I'm just thinking about you go through you see so many people every single day, or I mean whatever, you see so many people in your life, period. And to think of like this could even tie in to the trauma part. Like someone tells you something and you remember that whether you know it or not, and somehow that belief becomes yours even if it wasn't to begin with.
Right. That's why we have to keep questioning where those beliefs come from.
Yeah. Today, my freaking yoga class was based on that. It was ignorance and misperception of what your truth really is. And some of the questions I asked everyone was like, where are these beliefs coming from that you've told yourself your whole life about yourself? Like, are they really yours? And I was like, another question, which feelings do you need to work your relationship with? Something like that. I forgot the exact wording. But just that whole concept of like, what is your truth?
Right.
Is the thing you've been telling yourself for however many years actually true?
Right.
Question yourself. Question the
Right.
fuck
It's
out of
powerful.
yourself.
You get to rewrite it.
Yeah.
Like once you get past the questioning piece and how scary that might be, you get to be like, okay, what do I want my life to be like? Like we're master creators. Like manifestation is not that woohoo, you know?
Yeah.
At first I was like, okay, how? I remember reading The Secret when I was really young. Really, really
They
young.
made it sound like magic. Like
Yes.
something out of nothing.
Yes.
But it's like, eh.
But we're doing it every day.
Yeah. It's the work you put in, and now I finally get it. Like recently I finally made the connection of what it all really means. Like there's a difference between like learning information and then applying the information after you understand it and digest it. Because I think I've learned so many things. I just have like information in here, but I don't know what to do with it. Because I don't know what it means for me.
Right.
But recently this whole thing about like questioning where my beliefs have come from has been such a powerful thing for me. Wait, hold on. I can change. Like your mind is so powerful.
So powerful.
You can't really apply until you understand.
Ground in that truth. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like which piece of that truth makes sense to you to take away?
that part. Yeah.
Because there's so much out there, and there's so many different perspectives and paradoxes, which during COVID I feel like I could have drove myself crazy because I would get to the nitty gritty of one topic within self-healing, let's say, and then I'll find a direct paradox to it. And if they both oppose each other, then where is I? Where am I?
Yeah.
You know?
Where is I?
Where is I?
Literally. When did you start your spiritual awakening or your awakening
COVID.
journey? Really? Me
It
too.
was just really.
Well, I mean, it was like a month before, but I don't really count it because it was like COVID when we were alone.
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
okay.
I was like, okay, yeah. What do I believe in? How long have I believed this? Where did it come from? What is the pain that I experience? What story do I tell myself about the pain that I experience? Does it shape who I am? Also being the black sheep, it's like, how much do you let that affect you? Does that invalidate your experience? Which I still live with family, so sometimes it may come off very invalidating when they're like, you're doing it wrong. But there's
Tell me
so
about
many
it.
different ways to be. I wish I could just show them through my eyes how life is. But we all have such different experiences, and unfortunately our parents haven't had the same experiences we've had, so
Right.
it's hard for us to compare.
I'm gonna like go a little off topic for a
Yeah,
sec.
go ahead.
Maybe I won't even include this, but the whole thing about living with your parents, I have found this theme come up for me recently, and I wonder if you've had the same experience. But like, trying to exist in a world that I've created for myself, and then coming back home to that old world, it's like mind fuck.
So trippy.
Like I would come to work here at Roots. This was like my life
Magical.
every single day. Right? Yeah. I'm becoming the person I want to be. Like showing up as that version of myself, and then I'd go home, and it was like a different world. Like I can't even put it into words almost. But sometimes I wondered if that kind of contradiction almost made it more difficult for this journey.
I totally.
And I wonder if like you experienced the same since you said you live with family.
100%.
I know it might be a little bit different with siblings too, but
Siblings, we all do our own thing, and we're very respecting of each other's space.
solid.
But family still wants me to be a certain type of person.
Right.
Like still tries to draw boxes around who I am.
That's
and
what it is, yeah.
it's like with love, I say, thank you for what you want. Thank you for wanting the best out of me and the best for my life, but this is the way that I choose to do it. But there's no easy way to say that to them. And it's hard for them to still want the best for us and be hands off. Like those boundaries get crossed subconsciously, I guess, by them because they haven't healed themselves, and maybe they won't. But I've come to find peace within all that recently through a conversation with a friend that really softened me towards my mom. That she has not had my experiences, and she'll never truly see life how I see it. And that's okay, but she still broke the cycle, the generational cycle in her own way so that I could be here.
Right.
Like she pulled us out of Syria. She worked full-time jobs when she had to. She suffered. She was a single mom with 3 kids and her mother. She did it all to get us here. Very powerful woman.
Go her.
Go her. But we can't expect them to be perfect because they're still humans.
Right. And I feel like I think about this often, like it goes the other way too, right? Like I'm thinking about myself because I'm the kid, but then I got to think about them, like, and everything that they went through. Like, and how different it looks from what I'm going through. Like, yeah, my experience looks different than theirs, but their experience also looks different than mine. You know?
Right.
So just compassion.
Compassion. Yeah. You don't have to have my experiences to extend compassion to me.
It's hard though, sometimes.
It's very hard.
Sometimes I just be like, shut
It's
up.
also going back to like the most triggering place of your life. Like no one triggers you like family does. No one in the world.
Yeah.
And if you still live with family and you have to experience that every day and maintain your zen, you're cool. That's a fucking... That is a
Skill.
superpower. Oh, yeah. To be like, I will still honor my peace.
But it's like you can't heal in the environment that traumatized you.
Yeah.
And just like everything around that nature. If you're like revisiting a test every single day, your parents being the test,
The dynamics being the test.
the remembrance, the reminder of who it is you're trying to move away from, or the old version of you.
I think if I had some space in between, I just need some space to ground in my personal truth that is not affected by my triggers. And then maybe I can come back into this space and be able to extend more compassion.
No, this is so true because last summer I moved out of my house for like 4 months, stayed with my godmother instead because there was like major renovation going on in my home, which, talk about an unbalanced root chakra. No, but so I like didn't live with my parents for the whole summer. And what you're saying here, I recently thought about it again. And it's just like being able, because I barely saw anyone. I was basically living alone because we had such different schedules. But I found myself like, I literally wrote, oh my God, I have to read this to you.
What?
Wait, what's today? Today's the 9th. This was 2 days ago. Okay. I said, living with parents is hard and as an adult when you're growing as an adult. Summer of 2022, so last year was my best summer yet because I was basically living on my own. Aside from my regular mental qualms, I felt happier, more free, and then a big one I noticed was I felt more motivated in a weird way. It's a big one that I can't figure out just quite yet why I feel so motivated when I'm on my own without their influence. Actually, I think I kind of know subconsciously,
Makes sense.
but
Because you get to create your own life.
that's true. And like living with them, like I adopt their habits, which I'm trying to grow out of. Like a big one is they watch a lot of TV to pass time. They come home from a long day of work and they just turn the TV on until they go to sleep. And that's not something I want to do.
Me neither.
Like I feel like
stayed
shit.
away from TV most of my life. Like,
Yeah,
I was
it's-
scared to get involved.
It's like a warp.
Yeah, a warp. Which can be
And-
fun. Like some movies, like I've enjoyed sitting down and watching a movie.
I love watching movies, but it's that just like mind-numbing consumption that I can't. I want to move away from.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll be in the middle of my day. If we have a different schedule from each other, they'll come home at 3 p.m. And 3 p.m. is like my peak, my pinnacle of doing work. They'll come home, turn on the TV, and my way of seeing bonding with them is sitting down watching with them.
Yeah.
Because that's the only time I get. And so it's like learning those small things, unlearning those small things. And I was like, this would be so much easier if I just lived on my own. But that's just one of the things. I wanted to bring that up because I
Yeah.
felt like that's something I've been thinking about recently.
And it's
2
not
days
something
ago.
consciously they're doing, but it's just their
Yeah.
way of being.
Or it's like Yeah, it's the way they are, the life they've created for themselves. But this is the beginning of my life. I don't want to set these imprints on my mind, my still developing brain, you know? I want to create different patterns, different habits. It's hard. You still have that like walking reminder around you.
But it's also, if you form it in that such intense, that walking reminder place, it'll stay with you forever. But then if I can set my boundaries in a place like home from the people that are closest to me, then nobody out in the world will cross those boundaries, you know?
I love that
That's
perspective.
the hardest battle.
Yeah.
If I can win that battle, then I'll be okay. I'm trying to see the positive in it.
No, yeah.
Because I wanted to get out
No,
so
that's great.
long ago.
Because we all have like a negative bias, right? As human beings, we think of the negative first, but I'm trying to get back into positive little Clara.
Yeah.
I used to be like a little toxic positive, like beginning of the awakening.
light.
Yeah, we're all love, we're light, all one. But then I kind of like dipped and then became more negative Clara, and I don't like negative Clara. So I really like that perspective shift offering. So thank you.
Thank you. To both positive and negative Clara, because both have to exist.
This is right, duality of clarity.
I want to say thank you for having me on. I grew up with such a locked throat chakra. We were talking about this before. And to be able to speak to you and like us get each other, it's, even though we've had such different walks of life, grounding in what has felt holy for us separately in our own lives, and seeing that there is overlap in what makes us feel connected, even though we're disconnected from family sometimes and we don't see eye to eye. There are things in this world that, even just nature for me is a big one. Like once I'm out in nature, I remember my essence. I remember the truth, the power. Trees teach me so much.
I fucking love trees.
They tell stories. Oh,
I look at a tree, I almost cry.
Yeah. And then I'm like, wow, you are me, I am you. Wow.
Glad we're on the same page here.
Yeah, man. I'm so grateful that we also live in a world where you can bring these conversations to the people that know you. It's so important that we all do what we can in the communities that we're involved in. Like, all of us have a certain reach, and maybe sometimes I thought that, like, oh, I can't be this or I can't be that, but that's exactly what I need to be. I'm in these situations exactly to bring my best self, my most aligned self to these places and create what makes me feel happy. Because if we follow what makes us feel happy, we'll never be lost. You know what I mean? And you're doing what makes you happy, and you're bringing so much love to the world and truth and clarity. So thank you.
Yeah, that's been a big shift in this, and being consistent with it has been shaping that belief that this didn't mean anything. But the more and more I sit down with people like yourself, I can't even tell you, like, I gain a little bit of clarity, and I gain so much. I can't even put it into words right now. It would be a disservice to how I feel. I think it's funny how you mentioned your throat chakra, and I didn't even know that was a part of your journey. And before this, I was like, lubricate your throat chakra. I just think it's funny how there was that connection.
Yeah, I definitely needed to lubricate her before our conversation.
Just sips through me.
All women experience some throat chakra repression. We've been silenced for ages. So look at us here, using the power of word, truth. It's so powerful.
All right, so that's pretty much all we've got for the episode today. Is there anything else you'd like to touch upon regarding this topic?
This world teaches me every day. Every day, the magic that is within us and all around us. And today was a perfect reminder of that. This place is a perfect reminder of that. Look at where we are right now. So thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you for everyone out there doing their grind. On their mission, on their journey, not falling off, getting back up when they fall down. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
It's not easy.
My name is Leen Abaza. You can find me on Instagram at Leen_Abaza. That's LEENABAZA. She DJs, so if you want some tunes, listen up. My whole life is on there, so That's all I gotta say.
Are you gonna like do any like release stuff on Spotify or something anytime soon?
Not soon. I'm still in a phase of moving through it. Producing is my ultimate goal, to produce music. I will be releasing stuff.
Freaking train.
Or no. That's okay.
In the future.
In the future. Stay tuned.
All right, quick wrap up. You're gonna hear the train in the background, but it's okay. Just F it, you know? Thank you so much for coming on. I can't even tell you how much it means to me.
So empowering.
Yeah.
People living their mission.
I feel blessed to have been sitting in your presence. I've been graced by yours.
Same. Likewise.
All right, see you in the next episode. Bye.